Dartmoor National Park, a wild and rugged land, well known for its myths, legends and hauntings.
We're Tom and Hannah, and to celebrate Halloween, we headed there to search for the most haunted locations we could find.
Everything was going well and we'd driven down in good time, but Hannah saw a sign at the side of the road and got distracted by something. Pixieland. So in folklore, pixies naturally led travellers astray, so I guess it's quite fitting that Pixieland has led us astray from our goal. Pixieland started off cute and whimsical.
This is so cute.
But things quickly started to take a sinister turn. Well, that was an uncomfortable experience.
Oh, that was cute. As you probably have guessed, we're in Dartmoor, which we've never been to before. So the first stop we're doing on this little haunted tour is Wistman's Wood. I can't say that.
Wistman's Woods, yeah. Which is an example of only 3 stunted oak woods in Dartmoor, which means that they only grew to about 6 feet tall, which is about
like your height.
my height. It's a really ancient woodland and there are tons of mosses and lichens on it. But we were chatting to the volunteer wardens down at the car park, and they were saying that since the lockdown, because of basically YouTubers and TikTokers, Wistman's Woods gained this sort of reputation of this magical, mystical place, which to be fair it is. It has a ton of, it has a ton of folklore and hauntings behind it, but when people got their freedom after lockdown, they came back and just vandalised it, trashed it. So they asked that we don't go inside it, unfortunately.
Which is a big shame,
yeah.
Because I think everyone should be able to experience like all the nature that suits them, but when it's getting so vandalised, you just can't risk that being ruined and the actual ecosystem being destroyed.
But that's okay, because we can still go right by it. So no one really knows where Wistman's Woods gets its name from, but one of the leading theories is that it comes from the Devonshire word wished, which means pixie led. And pixies, of course, as we learned earlier in Pixieland, led simple, travellers, lonely travellers astray. But this wood also has associations with the wild hunt, where where the wished hounds would be led by the wild huntsmen, and they would travel over the moors close to this area, again to look for lonely travellers, and then they would take them away. So my guess is Dartmoor, being so bleak, probably had quite a few disappearances, and presumably all these legends sort of arose from that. Oh no, it's the wild hunt.
So we're just walking on the outskirts of it now so that we're not walking directly through it, and honestly it's nowhere near as dense and as dark as I expected it to be, but actually it's just like a little strip of kind of small trees. Yeah, not what I expected, but it's still cool. There's so much moss and lichen and old man's beard, I think it's called, where it drapes down, and loads of acorns, so it's up my street.
I suppose it's one of those situations where it's like Instagram versus reality, of Instagram, TikTok, all us filthy YouTubers, we make it sound like it's so amazing.
And it is.
It's a very special environment, but I suppose you expect it to be different than it actually is. It's still really, really, really picturesque, and I would recommend coming here.
I just spotted something. Well, that's kind of cute and unnerving at the same time. It says, "You are not alone," which is kind of sweet, but also kind of there's writing on that stone too.
I told you it was creepy. So we've just pulled off the side of the B3212 because we got a bit spooked driving along this road.
So there's a legend associated with this road where in the kind of 20th century there was lots of motor incidents happening, and the motorists who survived said that they basically had these hairy hands grab their steering wheel and swerve them off the road. And like, I think multiple people were saying this.
Yeah, so
Just so weird.
these sort of disembodied hairy hands
No, the hairy hand!
grab a person's steering wheel. But there's actually another incident where someone was camping in a caravan, and apparently this pair of hands tried to unlock the door while she was camping.
Maybe they were just using that as an excuse for like, they were drink driving, but they were like, why did I crash? Oh, there were these hairy hands, and everyone started catching on, and they were like, yeah, the hairy hands got
hairy
me
hands,
too. It
that's
definitely
That's
wasn't the
definitely
alcohol.
it. Yeah, no, it is quite a winding road as we've driven along it, but at least it has two lanes. Like, there's one lane going this way, one lane going the other way, whereas back in the day it would have been single track. So if you imagine it's dark at night, it's perhaps a bit foggy, you swerve, it's easily done. But yeah, that's our little Darty legend. Darty legend. Right, let's go.
Since we were going to be wild camping the night after, we decided to treat ourselves to staying in a YHA hostel for the night. Cheeky room tour. We have a room with 6 beds because you can never have too many beds these days. And then come over here. Also, me and Tom are definitely both claiming top bunks. Got our own sink, which is really handy. Nice, don't have to brush your teeth in front of other people because I hate that. Alpacas. Well, they didn't put this on the description. That's a bonus.
Oh.
Excuse me, horses. We need to get through.
They
They just don't
don't
care.
care.
I genuinely don't know what to do. Can you tell your friend to move, please? Retreat, retreat, retreat.
You win this time, horses.
Gosh, there's so many though. They're lovely. Apart from those ones. Woo! Made it. Just down the road from our hostel was Bellever Forest, which we originally thought would just be a nice forest to walk around, until we realised that it was actually linked up to a spooky location that we were going to explore anyway.
We wandered through the forest to join up to a trail called the Lych Way, or otherwise known as Corpse Road. This is a 12-mile path dating back to medieval times where local farmers would carry their dead through the rough and rugged terrain in every weather to be buried at the church in Lydford. They were also expected to walk this route every Sunday to attend church. It is still believed by some that this route is used by the dead as a flight path to travel back to the farms and houses where they used to live, and has been described as the M25 on a Friday evening for these spirits on Halloween.
So we finished our walk and we popped into the Visitor Information Centre quickly just to have a quick look around, and we ended up building some like old
Neolithic monument
Yeah.
and an old hut.
And then we ended up being in there for 45 minutes chatting to this lovely lady who gave us loads of tips about Dartmoor and about just telling us some life stories. So
It was great. It was really great.
A sleepy cafe stop and a short drive later, we arrived in Belstone, where we'd begin our hike to what you could call a scary wild camping spot. On our way to do our first ever wild camp together!
So these stones were originally supposed to have been 9 maidens who came dancing on the Sabbath, and as punishment they were turned to stone and forced to dance eternally whenever a church bell rang. So as soon as you could hear a church bell here, these stones would spring to life and have to dance for all eternity. But the story also involves 17 brothers who were also cursed, so maybe that's why there are more than 9 stones here. We thought that we'd give it a go and camp under the bleakness of Dartmoor, but we thought where better place to go than a tour that's called Scary Tour. It's the perfect place to camp under. I'm sure there are some that probably have actual folklore behind them, but this one is literally called Scary.
We just couldn't resist.
You can't get more Halloween and haunting than that. It was still quite early, and we wanted to wait until the sun started going down before setting up the tent, so explored the area around the tour. So, little update, a farmer has just driven down the track, like a dirt track. Now, we're not supposed to be in view of any roads, but we figured that it's a dirt track, not an official road, so we thought we'd be okay. But anyway, he's quite far away, so I don't think he's going to give us any trouble. Besides, it's legal to be here, so I think we'll be okay. But I'm just keeping an eye on him, and we haven't set up our tent yet, just in case.
Cool, we are done. There's so much sheep watching us.
It is quite fragile, isn't it? It's not the best cooker, but it'll do. We're not die-hard wild campers, so we don't need the best technology.
It's really tickling my tongue.
Do you want to swap then? Because this is only beans and potato.
My first ever wild camp, success. We started the morning exploring the town of Oakhampton before heading to our final and, in our opinion, the most beautiful and unique haunted location of the trip.
The final place that we have come to is Lydford Gorge in Lydford.
Even better, there is a haunted waterfall in Lydford Gorge.
We come to find a haunted waterfall. Possibly the only haunted waterfall I've heard of in the entire UK. Who knows, there might be some more.
You know, you hear of haunted house, haunted woodlands,
Haunted pubs.
but not a haunted waterfall.
It's quite rare. Now, this is a National Trust property, so we're not members, so we had to pay £10 each to come on this walk. So it is quite expensive, but so far it is absolutely stunning.
And I think if you do the long walk, which is a 3-mile loop walk, then I think it's worth it.
The waterfall that lies in Lydford Gorge is known as White Lady Falls, supposedly because a ghostly figure of a lady dressed in white can be seen wandering the base of the falls.
This ghost, however, is not thought to be an evil ghost, but is actually thought to have saved people from drowning in the pool below. But we didn't feel like putting that theory to the test.
In the sense that very close to the water on very slippery slate. Stacked it. So Lydford Gorge has the ghost of the White Lady that lives at the waterfall, but it also has, in the 1500s, supposedly, a gang of ruffians called the Gubbins lived here. It's not a great name for a gang, but they lived here and terrorised the local area, and they lived in the caves in the gorge, and we think we've spotted one of these caves. I know we came to do this walk specifically to see the White Lady waterfall because it's a haunted waterfall, come on, but honestly, this walk is incredible. I know I complained at the start about the £10 price tag, but actually, it's worth it.
And also, the more you walk, the more amazing it gets. And I know I say this every single video, but I think this might be one of my favourite walks I've ever done.
We've got one more place to visit as part of this sort of Lydford Gorge walk, and that is the Devil's Cauldron. Now, I couldn't find any folklore or hauntings or legends around it, but with a name like the Devil's Cauldron, I feel like it's got to be quite impressive.
That was so beautiful. It's literally like magical here.
Well, that was amazing.
It was so beautiful.
Unfortunately, we didn't see a ghost, but comment down below. Have you ever seen a ghost? Did you see a ghost in our video that we didn't spot?
We'll see you in the next one.